let me answer that question real quickly. I'm going to grab an image. So the question is, does it display responsive code? So let me add an image here. All right, so in this image, I can make the width in %. So it could be responsive in the sense that it won't be fixed based on padding or something. So the width would be kind of consistent. So it would be larger and bigger screen. So if I go preview here, if I preview the screen, on the create account page, this image is that wide. Now, if I switch to a larger phone, it also increases in size. And as you can see, it's responsive in that sense. And all of these, text field widgets are also that way. But we don't have, being able to make things disappear based off of tablet versus, landscape and so on. But we're launching those features in the coming weeks. Cool. So we were about to make it so that after a user creates an account, we navigate to the setup page. So here we're going to say navigate after account creation, and it's going to navigate to user setup. All right, so we don't allow back navigation, right? So after they create account, you don't want them to go back to this create account page. So we're not going to allow back navigation, and that's it. So what that means is, if I go preview again, if I hit create account and press that button, it goes into this page. Of course, this is just preview. It's not actually creating anything. You can run it live here, and then we'll actually start creating users, and there'll be authentication, and there'll be data happening here. And we're going to do that later after we've kind of built it out a little bit, so everybody can try it. We'll share the link, and we can see people signing in here and getting all the data live. I think it's going to be exciting. We haven't done this before, by the way. This is the first time we're doing like a live stream where we're building and letting people try it live. So things might break, but we'll see. Hopefully everything works fine. All right, create account to set up. Right now, so we're not doing email verification. So somebody can just use any random email, and we still allow, Firebase will just allow you to create an account. That's fine for now, but we can do email verification and all that stuff in the future. All right, and now let's also do, if somebody does guest mode sign in, we also want to log in as anonymous. I think login or create account as anonymous, both should be the same. And then we also want to do the same. We want to go to a setup profile. There we go, user setup page. No back navigation. Cool. And user setup, let's do a couple of things. So we have some issues here in the project. Let's fix those. So it needs Firebase auth to be configured properly. Probably let's go into settings here. Let's go to authentication, see if we need to do anything. All right, so authentication is already enabled. The only issues are here, the initial page settings. So is the entry page. So what this means is, if there's authentication, how the app behaves is going to be different based off of whether you're logged in or not, right? So if it's not logged in, you want it to go to a sign-in page. Once the user logs in, you want to go to, if a user is already logged in, or once they log in, you want to go to a home page. So that's the setting here. So the entry page is going to be login and sign up, but if they've already logged in, it just goes straight to the home page. That makes sense, right? Cool. And so now we only have one issue. Field email is not properly set in database action. So there's some actions here. It looks like I'm just going to delete all the actions we have here. You're going to start from scratch so you can see how to set it up. So what we want to happen is, this was just the default image right now. I'm going to copy this. We actually want this image URL to come from a variable. And that variable is going to be the user's image URL. So we can say user record photo URL. So one thing that's happening here, if you notice, all of these says incompatible, right? UID, created time. These fields were automatically created for you in FlutterFlow, and there's different data types. Now in Firestore, you can actually just it's the wild, wild west. I can create a collection, just add whatever I want, and it will just work. You can just have any data. There's no validation, my field. which is fine. Maybe, you know, it lets you kind of maybe move fast, but the issue is we won't be able to easily connect it to the UI. So what we have is let's delete this collection. It says test data. We enforce a schema on the Firestore collections so that when the users are creating fields, it's consistent and you can load it and attach it to the views. APIs, yes, we have API configuration here. I can show you that later. I saw a question about APIs. Cool. So if we go to the users field, there's a photo URL, which is an image path. So if I'm trying to set this image URL to come from the user record, it only lets me select fields that match, right? So it makes sure that the fields match. And the default value, we're going to paste this in. That's the image of the dog that we just copied. Very cute. Save. All right, so now what will happen is if the user has a photo URL, that photo will show up. Otherwise, it will show the photo of this dog. Cool. Full name is just a text field. Bio is just a text field. And now in save changes, we want to be able to update the user record, right? We want to set the bio and the display name. Let's quickly add that. So how do you update a record here? All I do is backend call, and I'm going to do an update record. We need to update the current user. So I'm going to do authenticated user record reference. What that means is, let me create a test collection. Let me quickly explain. Are people familiar with Firebase here? I'm watching the comments. Cool. Yeah, so if you know Firebase, the way it works is it's a document store. You have a bunch of different documents in different collections. We like to keep it simple and have high-level collections and avoid nested collections so that it's easier to query. There's really no difference in terms of functionality. You just have to use more reference fields. And references are just these paths, right? /this /some ID. And if I create another document, yeah, there's different references for those. So as soon as a user signs in, we create a record for that user. And so on this update record, we say we want the authenticated users record reference, which really means this path here, something like that. So it'll be /users UID, right? It's going to look like something like that. Does that make sense? Cool. I'm going to assume yes, and keep going. Feel free to ask questions. No, we don't have support for real-time database. So there's a question: can we do a real-time database? Not at the moment. The reason we did that is Firestore is cheaper, and it's pretty real-time, as you'll see when we kind of run it live. So we wanted users to be able to use a thing that's simpler and cheaper to start with, and with more requests, we'll probably add real-time database. But so far, our users have been pretty happy with the setup. Cool. So we're going to update this user record. We need 3 things, right? We need the display name. Wait, oh, we already have display name down there. So so we have display name. That's going to come from a variable. So you can set it to a specific value, or you can update an existing value by incrementing. But in this case, we're going to say we want the widget state. We want it to be the full name. So display name is going to be set to full name here. And if there's nothing, we'll just maybe default to Droid. Maybe let's say, and we'll just call it Droid. All right, we'll just stick with that. And for photo URL, it should also come from a variable. We're going to say widget state. Actually, this doesn't appear because we haven't added an action for the photo. Let's just remove it for now. The photo URL, we have display name, and we need the bio. Field bio is going to come from widget state, my bio. Here to make friends and learn about building apps. That's the default bio, very friendly. Cool, that's it. And now we need to make sure that we add an action that lets users upload an image. By the way, so all of this stuff that we're doing now if I had to manually code it, it would take me quite a lot of time, right? And I'll show you in a second how. Actually, let's just do it now. Yeah, let's look at the generated code for this page. So there's, as you can see, there's two controllers. There's a my bio controller and text controller. Let's make this a little bit easier to read by actually just giving them names. So I can select this full name and give it a name. I can call it full name text field or full name field, right? Just so the code is clean and it makes sense here. I'll say bio field, or like, yeah, my bio field, something like that. And the save changes button, we'll call it save changes button. And now let's go back to view code. And what, text controller, we've updated this. Did we not save my bio field? Field. Okay, so for some reason, still saying text controller. But is it not? I'm worried that it might not be saving for some reason. So I'm going to try saving it and going to view code now. There we go. All right. So it wasn't, hadn't saved. So I just had to command us to, we have like an auto save thing and it was just a little behind. So it says full name field controller, my bio field controller. So there's a text editing controller for both of those that's being initialized. And when you hit save changes, and if you click like a button, for example, or any widget here, you can see the code only for that part. So you can kind of zoom in on that part and see what the generated code is. And as you can see, it says, sets a loading button, like a loading indicator, and then it gets the user, creates the user record, updates the user record data. So it creates the update, what needs to be updated, and actually calls update using Firestore. And kind of doing this manually would have taken quite a bit, at least in my experience of trying to build these apps. And let's go back to setting change photo. On top, all we'll do is just do upload photo or video, allow photo, either camera or gallery, that's it. Now, once we have this in save changes, we can, when this is clicked, we can have another action that is, actually, no, we already have the upload. We just need to set it on the user field, right? We just need to set the photo. Okay, photo URL is gonna come from uploaded photo or video. So as soon as this option is appearing, because we've set the action on this change photo. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. So this was quite a bit. This is probably this is the first time we were doing it, so I was kind of explaining what we were doing. But in the interest of time, I'll just kind of move fast and just kind of build and let people ask questions as we go. So we've set up the login page. We've set up the user setup. And now it just goes straight to the home page. And here, maybe we'll just put a text that just says welcome for now, so we can quickly test it. Let's just align it to the center here. And it'll say welcome. And maybe it should say welcome username, right? So what if you wanted to add some text here? So one thing we can do is we can either use a row to kind of put the text next to each other, but we can also easily combine text here and have welcome here. Sorry, the first text can say welcome, and then the username. Second text could be from variable authenticated user display name. Yes, that should work. Let's quickly check the code to see if that's doing what we want. Current user display name. Okay, I think there's a chance that it's not loading the user record. So what I'll do is actually, you'll get the document from reference. You'll get the user document for the current authenticated user. And now you can make sure that the user's name is displayed properly. Welcome. from variable user record display name. Okay, so now I should say welcome name. All right, I'm gonna hit save. So it just says welcome one. And now one thing we'll do is we're just gonna run it. So on user setup, on save changes, it should have updated the record, and then we're gonna go to the home page. Right, the next action is gonna be navigate to home page. You can't go back. That's it. And that should work. Let's just preview it real quick. And then I'm gonna build it, and I'll share the link to everyone. So you can create, so you can actually continue as guest or create an account with email, and we'll see the data kind of coming in live here, which is gonna be exciting. So if I type something here and hit save changes, it actually goes here. But in preview mode, it's not actually loading the data, right? Cool, so I'm gonna hit run. What that does is it will actually start building the app and running it. So we'll, once this builds, we'll send the link and you can, people can hop on and try it. All right. Now, so the version that's being built is based off of what we had when we hit build. So we can continue building while this compiles. And so we're gonna build a chat app, right? That's what we said. Let's use a template so we don't start from scratch. I'm gonna do create a new template. I'm gonna find something that looks a little bit close to like a chat thing, like something like channels in Slack. Let's see. Maybe this list. We can do something simple. Maybe we can just use this without the images. So I'm going to use this template. Home page. And this will be where all the different channels are. Oh, okay, channels page. And it should just say here, public channels. And this is great. Add is going to add a new channel. I see a question. Is FlutterFlow a good tool to teach Flutter? I think so. And the reason I say that is you can immediately, start making some changes here. You can hit view code and then kind of look at how it's set up, right? And if you see the code, it's actually pretty clean code. I mean, it's not perfect. It's pretty young as a company. We're just going to celebrate our 1-year birthday, actually, our first birthday next week. So it's still pretty young as a company, but I think we've tried to make it so that the generated code is clean and easy to work with. And we're in fact using it internally in FlutterFlow to build some of our screens as well. Cool, so it's gonna be the public channels page. We won't have this week, it'll just be that. And we can delete this stuff we don't need. Let's go into the widget tree mode. So we can delete the cards that we don't need. All right, so we can delete this, delete that. Just have a column, and it's gonna start, maybe it's gonna look like that. Maybe this could be the channel title. Actually, no, we can remove this also. We can just have the channel title up here. Charity 5K race. So this is gonna be the channel title. Maybe there's some description for the channel, and we don't need this whole row on the bottom here. I'll delete it. And that's pretty simple. And maybe just add like a hashtag symbol at the left of all of this. I'm not a designer, so the design is not going to look necessarily great at the end, but that's okay. What I'll do is I'll wrap this widget, this column widget. Yeah, that's actually another difference. I didn't want to call it out earlier. Someone said I've used Supernova and the code was messy. Yeah, the difficult thing about just going from a design like in Figma and generating code is the code is not going to be as easy to work with. If you're building it here, and if you're building a row, putting different color, like just like I'm gonna wrap this, like I think it's expanded. Like if I drag and drop a row, add a bunch of columns, align the axis properly, and I'm building it like I would in code, the generated code is also going to be clean. If you just take an image and just try to draw, position things and draw absolutely, it's just going to be hard to work with. And we're engineers, we want the final product to be workable for the development team, and we don't want to just allow building an app where you can't modify the code. Yeah, with that being said, there's some issue here, I think. Let me see. It's because trying to, okay, there's a container here. Delete that. There's already a row here. I believe that's the problem. So we can maybe wrap this in a container, the column. Or, sorry, let me undo that change. I'm trying to add like a small hashtag to the left here. Maybe we don't need to do that. We can just do it here. We duplicate this and make this hashtag just to make it the channel name. And this will actually be the channel name. We don't need this either. We can delete this card event. And what we'll do is this will be repeated for every new channel that someone creates, and people can join the channel and start talking. That's the idea. Does that make sense? Cool. Let's give this card a little bit of padding at the top. Cool. That looks pretty simple, and I think it looks fine. We can use this to get started. By the way, we have the run mode link. It should have compiled by now. Here we go. Log in, create account. And this is an actual app, right? This is no longer a preview. And yeah, so let's see. I'm gonna actually try to do create account. And I'll use my email here. And I'm gonna just use a password here. That's very secure. I'll try to create an account, see what happens. So it says create an account. Okay, we went into this page. Now let's go to Firebase and look at authentication. Cool, you see this able at FlutterFlow.io. So it's actually creating an account. I'm not gonna use a photo. I'll just, if I do change photo, it will let me actually upload. I don't know if you can see on my screen. You know what, actually, I'll just use my profile picture. It won't be uploaded yet, but I'll find, maybe I'll find a photo. We don't have to, yeah, let's see if we can find something. Yeah, okay, never mind. I had cancel on there. So I'm gonna say able FlutterFlow. All right, and I hit save changes. Going to the home page. Let's see if it created a collection. Okay, nice. So we have a users collection. Nice. So it has display name as FlutterFlow and bio as empty. So I think we might have had a very simple bug in the app. This is the nice thing about doing it here. It looks like probably in this user setup, when we're creating in the action, we're setting the wrong field. So we have display name. It's coming from my bio field, right? So this is a bug. And if you've written code, you know, bugs are common. And also when you're doing it visually, there's gonna be some bugs as well. And bio is actually not being populated at all. So we also make sure bio comes from a widget state. And this should be my bio field, right? And the photo URL is set properly. Cool. All right, so we fixed that bug. And so next time you run it, we shouldn't see this issue. And I'm gonna share this next link so you can actually start creating an account and testing it out. All right, but let's move fast. We've already done the login page. Here, this homepage we can delete now because the new homepage is gonna be channels page. This is where we want it to go when the user logs in. It says that there's an issue because we no longer have the home page that we had set up. We need to make sure the logged in page is channels page here. And then we also have a navigate that's going to channels page here on save changes. Great. Cool. I think, yeah. All right. So now let's handle the data for the channels. So we're gonna make it simple. We'll just have channels and conversations. So as in we'll have channels and then we have messages that are gonna be in the channels. So a channel will basically just have a list of conversations, some description and some you know, the header. So we'll have like the title and a description here. So we're going to create a channels collection, right? And we will have a name, the channel name. It's just going to be a string. And it will have a subtitle or like description. We could add like data such as created at or something like that. But in the interest of time, so we can move fast, we have like not a ton of time and we want to make sure people can try it. So I'm going to keep it very simple. We'll just have the name and the description. It also needs the person who created it. So you can have a user field, which is a record reference, or actually we can say owner of the channel. So maybe the owner of the channel can like delete the channel or delete messages potentially. So this is going to be a reference to that channel. And now we have channels, but we also need conversations, right? Or like messages. Maybe we'll say post potentially, maybe post in a channel. So we can say posts. A post goes in a channel, right? So a channel is going to have multiple posts, and so we don't need to set anything here. Instead, what we'll do is we link every post to belong in a channel. So we're going to add a field. The first field is going to be the user who's making the post. And let me know if anything here is not clear. If you have questions, I'm also looking at chat, but there's some questions that are like unrelated to this. So I'll answer those questions at the end. But if you have any questions about like what we're building here, feel free to add them there. And we'll have the channel reference. So a post is going to be made in a single channel, right? So it needs to have a reference to what channel we're posting in. And maybe a post can have an image. So we'll allow images for now. Let's just do image URL, image path. We hit save that, and then maybe you'll have the time. Created at is a timestamp. We could have, we can do lat long, we can do, location and all that stuff, but we'll just keep it simple. And it wouldn't really make sense for this kind of app anyway. And this should be fine. So channels and posts, I think, is all we need. We can come in and add any fields if necessary. We can actually also go into manage content in here, because this Firebase editor is not easy to like manage the data. So we have this CMS essentially that lets me edit this and kind of fix it. So for instance, like I messed up earlier and we had a bug with the display name and bio switched up. So we can fix that here. And I think display name I had is able. If I update the document, it's live updated here, right? In fact, in my run mode that I had earlier, now if we go, should potentially be fixed. Does still have a bug. Okay, so this run mode had a bug, but hopefully this new one is fine. Public channels. Maybe one thing we can do here is also, yeah, I think this is fine. We have the channels page. Let's also add we'll add a profile page, and we'll maybe set up chat at the end if we have time. We might be able to make it. Let's do a profile page. I think we have good profile options here. There's lots of templates you can kind of choose from. Edit profile page. Let's just look at all of them here. What's a nice profile page? Yeah, we can just use this. It's very simple. So this is going to be the username, and we don't have a lot. We're not going to need a lot of these settings, so I'm going to delete a lot of them. So if I go, so select this row, this list view. Okay, so we'll delete this row. We'll delete this row as well. We don't need settings. Sorry, I don't understand. I think somebody's unintentionally unmuted. We can actually make this work fine. Yeah, so change password, we can give it an action that resets the password. So we can do authentication, reset password. It needs an email field. All right, okay. We don't have an email field here, so that's fine. We can just get rid of it. We don't need to do change, changing passwords now anyway, because it needs to have a way to let the user enter the email to do a reset password. You can delete this as well. And maybe just this log out, and your email will be here. So we can do set from variable, authenticated user email. No email if there's NA, if it's not set, the default value. And this should be the username. I believe here we have to get the user document. Document from reference, users. We need to get the current authenticated users document. And we can make this the user record. Actually, I think I said it here on the, oh, sorry, I meant to get the document from at the top level of the page. So I'm going to get the current logged in users reference here. And the username here will be get the users record and use the display name. Yes, FlutterFlow is built with Flutter Web. That's correct. Cool. So this will be display name, this will be email, and this is going to be an image URL. This will be a network, and will be the current user's photo URL. I hope this is making sense. Let me know if it's not, or if there's questions. And we can give it a default value, I suppose. On splash profile picture. So I can just use profile picture. So that'll be the default. See, it's nice to be able to test it, because you'll see there might be some issues, like we need to do fit width on the, maybe fit height. Yeah, we can do contain. Why is 100? Oh, that's too large. 80. Maybe fit width. All right, cool. So that's the profile page. We have the channels page. And the one thing we can do now, we can easily add navbar. I'm going to do show on navbar here on the channels page. And the same thing on the settings page, show on navbar. So we'll call this profile. It'll just be a person icon. Perfect. And on the channels page, this will say channels, and it'll maybe there like a hashtag. There must be some hashtag icon hash. Oh yeah, maybe it should just be fine. We'll just do home. We'll do a home icon. And now we need to go in here and show navbar so that it shows up. Now if we go back, as you can see, we have the navbar. I'm going to preview here. There we go. Okay, so this is just a quick preview of how the app will look. We'll have a profile, and we'll have the different conversations here. Cool. All right. Almost there. Now we need to do ability to create a channel. We need the ability to add posts inside of a channel, or to create a post in a channel. And we need to be able to view a channel. And then within a channel, we need to be able to view the posts. But we'll try to keep it simple. I'm not going to maybe go into the details when I do that, so that we can finish quickly. So let's first start with creating a channel. So we need a create channel page. So typically, we have create post templates that kind of work nicely most of the time. So this will, instead of saying create post, this will say create channel. And this will be the comment. We can duplicate this field. Actually, we can just, yeah, we can duplicate this field. It's actually inside of a row. So this text field should be called channel name. And then this is just a row. And we can duplicate this row itself. So we have 2 of them here. This is just going to be channel name, label text name. And this one will just be the description. Label text description. Yep, there we go. And we'll make this smaller. It's kind of multiple lines right now. So we don't need multiple lines for this one. So we have the name and the description. We don't need location. And this will just be create channel. Pretty easy. Create channel. All right, somebody raised their hand. Go for it. Did you have a question?
I think you can like open the mic and
yeah, feel free to unmute and ask a question if you have a question. Or type it in. Cool. All right, so we'll proceed with this. Create channel is going to be pretty easy. We only need a name and description. Did we forget anything else? And of course, we need the person who's creating it, but we don't need to add that, right? Because we already know the authenticated user is the one creating it. So let's create that action. I'm going to do add action on top, backend call, create record, channels, and let's set the fields, name, description, owner. All right, the name is going to come from a variable, widget state, channel name. Oh, channel name is that one? See, this is good. We're highlighting it. I think we've called it the wrong thing when we duplicated here. So this is channel description, and this is channel name. Yeah, so we had a duplicate variable bug. We've caught it early. Name should come from channel name. Still confused. Let's remove it. Channel name, channel description. I'm going to save project and try again. Backend call, create record. It's creating a new channel, and you need to set the name. It will come from widget state channel name. All right, that looks good. You can see that the name is highlighted, right, automatically. And there's also description, which will come from widget state channel description. All right, so one thing we can do also here is we can validate the text input. So we can say this is a required field. Channel name is required. What this does is automatically when the user tries to create a channel, if it's not set, it will show an error, which is nice so that you don't have bad data. And we'll do the same for this. Let's make sure this is required. And it looks like we have an issue. Navigate action for icon set to page that doesn't exist. All right, we don't need that. Let's delete it. But we don't need to be able to edit this now in the interest of time. Okay, here's the channels page. Here's the create channel page. Let's make sure this is working. So it sets the name, it sets the description. Now we need the owner field. So the owner of the channel is going to be the currently logged in user. And that's it. So now we have the ability to create channels. And so when we do, what we want this button. Actually, let's make this an icon button instead of an icon button. And we'll say plus. Yeah, I can make it a nice circle, a button like that, and we can set the color to primary. Cool. So this will create a new channel. We'll just go to actions on top, navigate to page, create channel. Cool. So now this was going to create channels when you press it, but we need to make sure that it shows up here. So how we can make that happen is by using a query. So what we'll do is we'll make it so that this column will have multiple cards. So if I duplicate this widget, you can see, I can have another version of this row. But what we need is we want this value to come from the database. So I'm going to go to this column, the outer column that contains this card. And I'm going to do a query on it. So I can say backend query. Okay, this is acting slow. I'm just going to refresh it real quick. Make sure there's no issues. Channels page. Yep. So we still have this column. What we'll do is we'll do a query collection from channels. So this will import all the channels. So it's going to do a Firestore query and load the channels. All right. So if I hit save, and maybe you don't need to order it by anything. If you had a create time, you can potentially sort by the newest channels at the top or the ones with the most posts and all that kind of stuff. But we'll keep it simple. And it's going to say, hey, this will be dynamic. And we say, yes, we want that. That means now all of these different values are coming automatically. Right? So it will take this first. It only has one element, as you can see on the left here. And it will duplicate it for every record in that collection. Does that make sense? I'll give.
Yeah, I think it's good. Like, just about there is
Cool.
some like questions on the chat if you had missed it. Yeah, there is quite a few.
Okay, what's the difference between Android Studio? So I think there's some questions that are not related to what we're building now. So I'm going to save them for the end.
Okay, yeah, great. Yeah, cool.
So cool. So now we've already done a query. Let's just set this some variable. We say channels record. The value is the channel name, right? So that's going to be the name, and this is going to be the description. So set from variable, get the channel record, and use the description. That's it. So now if we run this app, hopefully what will happen is when people come in and create channels, it'll just kind of show up here. And maybe we can also, maybe something nice would be to show the owner of this channel here. So one thing I'll do is I'll clone this description row. So we have another one here, and here we can say, we can align this row to the right. So the main axis is start. We can say end here with this text. Is it expanded? Shouldn't be expanded. So that it's on the right side here. And this will be the person who built, who created this channel. So let's duplicate this text, and we can say remove. This can just say by, and then this will be a name, the name of the person. So here's a good, I think, tricky part here. If you noticed, the channels page, channels collection only has the owner reference. It doesn't have the owner's information. It only has like the address, right? It doesn't know the name, the email, or any of that stuff. So one thing we need to do is we need to do a query inside of this card event, or inside of this card or card event. We can do a document from reference, and it's going to be a user document, and it will be from the channels record owner field. So we want to get who the owner is, and we want to display it here. So in set from variable, I'm going to say this is going to come from users record display name. So this channel is going to be by this person, so you can kind of see it. All right, I think this is ready to test. We're going to continue building. We'll build the channel detail and the add post. We're almost there. I know we started around 2 p.m. here, maybe a little bit later. So I wanted to kind of do it within an hour and limit ourselves so that we don't waste too much time. As a quick introduction, and it's building here, and I'm going to share this link with everyone. Hopefully we can create some channels and see if it works. Okay, while it's building, let's create the channel detail view. So this is the page that shows the channels, right? Let's duplicate this page and let's call it channel details or something like that. So now instead of public channels here, so the channel details is gonna need to know what channel it is, right? So it needs to have a parameter. The page itself needs a parameter, and that parameter is gonna be what channel it is. So it will be a record, and it will be a channel's record. So when we go into a channel detail page, and by the way, it shouldn't be on a nav bar, it's just a detail view. When you go into channel detail, you should be able to see the name up top. Here, you'll do set from variable. From the channel, it should just be the name. And in fact, actually, we can do the hashtag before it. So why don't we say set from variable? It will be combined text. The first value is going to be a hashtag space. And the next value will be from variable channel name. Save. So that'll just say hashtag channel name, right? So you can see what channel it is. And here we already have a query where we're loading a bunch of channels. In this case, we don't want channels, right? We want the posts in that channel. So we'll just do a quick adjustment here. So we're not going to query channels, we're going to query posts. And that should just work. Now, automatically, it will load all the posts here. But one thing that's missing, we need to make sure we filter. We don't want to load all the posts across all different channels. We want the posts only for this channel specifically, right? So we'll do a filter, and we're going to say the channel of the post should be equal to, from variable, we have the input channel, right? And we have the reference of that input channel, and that's it. So if I save this here, what it'll do is it will show me all the posts where that are made for that channel. I think one thing we can add on top of this is we can add, we still have the filter? Yep, we can add an order by, so that we're getting the latest messages in the bottom, right? So it's increasing order of created app. So we'll save that. And the nice thing is, as soon as you do that, it tells you Firebase indexes are not properly deployed. In Firestore, if you know, if you've used Firestore, you know that if you're trying to do queries where you filter by one field and sort by another, requires an index, we'll automatically create that for you. I love this feature because it's kind of annoying. You have to run it and you have to find an error URL and you have to like paste it in, but this will actually automatically deploy that for you. I'm going to click OK there. And let's go back in here. And now, so this is still, these values are still set based off of what we had on the channel side. But maybe we want this is going to be more of a conversation actually. So it won't have this name. It'll just be the post, right? What the person said. So let's add a little bit of padding here. And instead of description, this will actually come from the post, and it will be the post. Oh wow, we didn't define the content of a post. Let's see. Collections. Post has the user, the channel. Okay, but it doesn't even have the text. All right, so a post needs some text, right? So we'll do string. Okay, easy. So now when we come back in here, we can say grab the post and use the text. Perfect. So we have the text here, and actually, I wonder if we can use some like chat type of, maybe we can use an existing chat widget. So it looks more like a chat. I don't want to build that UI myself. Yeah, so we have some chat UI here. There we go. Let's use this template. Actually, I don't think I can copy just a single widget from here. Is there anything that looks nice for chatting? We'll just go with what we have now. If we don't find something, that will work. And none of these are great for, maybe this could work. Yeah, list messages test. I'll just copy from here. So I'm going to copy this row. Yeah, let's copy all of this stuff. Yeah, we'll copy this. Now I can go back to the channel details. I'll delete this card and I'll paste it in. So this is going to be the person who made the post. Maybe there'll be their name, there was going to be a timestamp and the actual text. But maybe it's better to have, yeah, this is fine. I think it works. Obviously, we can spend more time and make it professional. We're trying to launch it quickly. So let's set the values. This will be the image. It's going to be a network image. That can be cached. Let's get it from the post. Oh, actually, here's another thing. For every post, we need to do the same thing. We need to query the user who made the post so we can get their information, their name, the display name, things like that. So I'll go back to this container. This is the first child of this column. And we'll do a query on here. Let's get the document from reference. It's going to be a post. It's going to be a user, the user who posted this. So we're going to do posts user. So the user who posted it will get the data here at that container level. And now for this image, I can set the image URL to be the user's record from container. So it's this user's record coming from the container. Perfect. We say photo URL and default value. I think we had a, did we have a URL default? I think we had a default image URL. Where was that? I believe it's from maybe the user setup. Maybe we can just use the dog one. That's cute. Wait, what happened to the default value? Okay, I lost it. That's fine. We'll just use Unsplash to get another default. Okay, yeah, let's use this image. So let's go back to channel details. Set from variable default is that one. So we can see how it actually looks. And the fit should be fit width, or maybe fit height. There we go. Okay, looks good. So this will be the person who posted it. And we'll have their name here, set from variable, the user record, display name. This is going to be the actual text content of the post, right? So it's going to be post, text, save, timestamp. This is also going to be easy. We're going to select the post. We'll say created at, and we can say, how do we display the time? And we want to do a moment, like a relative time. So it says a moment ago or something like that. Save. Cool. So now we have a channel and people will post into this channel and stuff will happen. We still haven't done the post part. Maybe that should be a floating action button. Actually, yeah, actually we'll make it so that it's a text field here and a button down there. I'll delete this for now, but let's see if the run mode is working. We can take a quick break. Cool. So if you noticed, I was already logged in. So yeah, sweet. So it says able at FlutterFlow, and this is my display name. This is my email. I think we forgot to add the bio. Let me quickly do that. In profile page, I'll add a bio here. So I'm going to duplicate this. So now I have another one. I think we have a little overflow happening here. This container has a maximum height. That's too short. I'll make it a bit longer. Let's make it 260. And this will be higher. Let's move this row above this other row so that, nope, undo. Let's move it here. Right, so this will be the bio. Set from variable bio. Cool. All right, so we'll say display name, bio, email, and you can just log out. This action should just log out. Add action on top. Authentication. No, not login. We want log out. Perfect. All right, but now is a nice opportunity to test this create channel version. So we're going to create a general channel. Actually, I'm going to create the first channel. First ever Droid channel. And I'll do a smiley face, create channel. All right, so I created the channel, I think. There we go, nice. So what we'll do is, yes, I'm gonna send this link to everybody so y'all can start logging in. Oh, actually, you need to make it public. If you try to open it now, it won't work because I haven't shared this with everyone yet. All I have to do is just hit this make public button and it will refresh, and now it's public. And if you go on here, we'll start seeing people signing up. All right, I'm gonna go authentication, and I'll see data should be coming in as y'all start coming in, creating accounts. So you can do continuous guest if you want. You can create an email. We're gonna delete this project. Actually, maybe we'll hand it off to you if you want to kind of keep working with it and download the code and use it as a sample or something like that. So yeah, so somebody's already logged in as an anonymous user. Cool. We have 4 users right now. So this Firebase is just the automatic, the thing that we create so we can do the content manager. But we have a couple users coming in. And did anybody create a channel yet? No, it looks like there's only one channel still. But feel free to come in and create a channel. So right now there's nothing I can do, right? I can't open this channel. I can't create a post yet, but we'll build that actually as people come in and test it out. So we have a bug here, widget property. Oh yeah, we don't need this page anymore. We can delete this. Okay, so we have channel details. This is good. We're going to do a way of displaying. We'll have a field that lets people post down there. And if I go to the channels page, we need to make it so that when this card is pressed, it navigates to a channel, the actual channel, right? So let's do an action on top, navigate to page, channel details, and we can pass in a parameter. So we need to set that. So what channel was just, past the channel that's actually on this column. Let me actually explain that again. The details page needs to know what channel is the detail for, right? And when the user clicks it here, we know what the channel this is. This is the current channel that's being displayed. We pass in that parameter saying navigate to channel details and pass in the channel value to come from the channel's record that is queried at the column level over here. This is a little tricky, hopefully it makes sense. And so now we've just made it interactive. So when the user taps this, it's going to go into the channel details. We'll show the channel name here, and maybe the channel owner. We can make the channel owner appear there as well. That's fine. And then the different posts will show up here. Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, people have created actually a ton of channels. Someone is spamming us. I can spam. This is cool. So we've a bunch of people have created channels. If you go to Firestore, you can see we have, wow, nice. We have a bunch of users signed up. This app is already taking off. And we have data here. There's a bunch of channels created, which is nice. And now what we'll do is we make it so that we've already made it so that when you tap a channel, you can go in and start having a conversation specifically about that channel. The only thing that's missing is a way of users typing in what they want to say, right? So one thing I'll do is I'll make sure that this column that's here is scrollable. Nice. So we can kind of you can see what happens. So if there's a keyboard, it's not going to overflow or anything like that. So we can kind of test it how it looks with a keyboard. So let's just figure out how to add a small text input here. Usually I'm lazy, so I like to find a template that has some text input, like a chat. Maybe we can try to use that. So we have an actual chat widget, but you can't just copy the small parts of it. That will actually be, because we've kind of implemented chat and it lets users chat with each other. Yeah, I think what we have, let's see, search friends. We don't have an exact message value, But we have something that's very similar, like the search stuff is very similar. So let's use one of them. Yeah, let's use this. You know, I think I'm overcomplicating this. I think it's just fine to come in here. We're going to wrap this itself in a column. Make sure it's scrollable. We'll make it so that the main axis alignment is space between, and we'll add, in here, we'll add a text field. Text field. Okay, so we have a text field down there. Let's make it max size. And we can also add a spacer. Okay, I think it's because it's scrollable. The spacer is gonna fail. I'm trying to get this text field to be on the bottom. Okay, I don't think this needs to be scrollable then. Yeah, that was the issue. But if we show the keyboard, nice. So the hint text still there. Cool. So we have the text field. I'm gonna actually copy a text field from the setup page, which looks a bit better. Sorry, is there someone who, we have some problems in the UX. When create a channel, we should navigate. Yes, that's a good point. Let's fix that real quick. So Miliani suggested that we should navigate after a channel is created. We should navigate back to the. So actually, what should we do? Should we navigate back to the home page, or should we go to? Let's make it so that it navigates to the currently created channel. That makes sense, right? So the first action is create channel. The next action should be navigate to page channel details, and it should pass in the currently created record. Action outputs. Wait, yeah, we need to do action outputs. Output variable name created channel. Okay, created channel. Cool, perfect. Did you get that? Does that make sense? So I think now what happens is when we hit create channel, it will create the record, and it will pass it as a parameter to the channel details page, and it will automatically get into this view. And we were trying to improve the look of this text field. Let me copy this. It looks nicer. Paste it in here. Yes, that's much better. And here it could say and I think we can have like an icon. Can we have a suffix icon? So we'll add an action to create. So basically, we just make it so that people can type and hit enter, so that they can create the text. So what we'll do is you'll add an action on submit of this text field. So when someone types a message and hits submit, we'll do a backend call. We're going to create a record. This time, it will be a post. We'll set some fields. So we need to set all the fields. Okay, we don't need image URL for now. Let's just, because we can have like an image picker here, but for now we'll just remove that. We'll set the user as the currently authenticated user. This should seem familiar. The channel is going to be the channel on the page. The channel reference. Created dot is going to be the current time. So that's going to be under global properties, current timestamp. And then the text will come from variable, widget state, and its full name field. It's actually not full name, right? You just need to rename it. I think we copied it from the setup page, so let's call it post field. All right, so, and we'll make it required so that you can't submit an empty post, right? So validation, let's make it required. Required can't be empty. So you can't submit an empty field. We require at least one character. Actually, I'll just leave that as is. So let's see how it looks with the keyboard. Nice. So when people are typing, it just shows up like that. It's kind of, there's some padding, I believe. There's some safe area, but I think with the keyboard, it gets pushed down. So I'm going to add a little bit more padding so that when the keyboard is shown, there's some gap there. Okay, I think that works. Let's see if, nice. There's so many channels. There's lots of conversations. We do cool things that matter. I like that. Cool. I think we're almost ready to test this. So you'll be able to type a message here, hit enter. And the person who typed it will show, their display name will show up and the message will show up. I don't like the fact that display name is very prominent here. I feel like the text should be more prominent. So we're going to make this the text, what the person said. And maybe we don't need to do the display name at all. Maybe we just show what the person said, and it could be a smaller font. So instead of subtitle 1, it could be like a smaller font. And there's probably some layout issues here. Like if we're using a container, we probably have a fixed height. Instead of a fixed height, we probably want to do, we want to remove that so that it automatically expands if there's more content. And then this column, let's make sure it's centered. This row itself is centered in this column. Center. Yeah, so this should work nicely. And we'll add a little bit of padding in between the items here. Let's add 10, padding of 10. So the posts are coming in this way. Cool. I think we're ready to launch this app. We have a create channel. We have the channel details where someone can actually type in. We have a channels page, everything we need. It's a very, very simple version of Slack, and we were able to build it in just over an hour. I'm going to hit run again. We'll get a new link. And once that's complete, we'll run it and we'll be able to kind of chat with each other. And the nice thing is here now, you can actually go into deployment, add some configuration for the App Store, and hit this deploy button and actually send it to test flight. You obviously need to set it up, and you can watch how to do that with the tutorial here. And it lets you test your ideas quickly, but also get the code. So if I do V code here, maybe I can, we can kind of go through some of the code here. So let's see this whole public channels page. Is that interesting? Should we run through the code a little bit? If you want to see the generated code while it builds, what do people want to see? Okay, I'll just kind of go through the generated code. So as you can see here, we have the public channels text here in the scaffold. There's the app bar, and we have actions, the add action, and then we have a stream builder. And so this stream builder is for this column here. It's going to query the channels record. So it's going to get all the channels. It will show a progress indicator if there's nothing. And it gets all the channels. And for each one, it will actually do this. It will show you that it will do list.generate. So it's going to generate a list of items. And for each one, it will display, it will actually query the user. Right? So for every channel, we need to get who the user is. So it's going to do another stream builder on the user's record, get their display name. And now that display name is going to be shown here. So it says hashtag name. This is going to be the name of the channel. column channels record dot description. Here, there's going to be column channels record dot name. And after that, we should see by the card event users record dot display name. So you can see where this is kind of coming from. We've queried it here. But I think I should have built nice FlutterFlow. Oh, perfect. So it works. We have a small bug. We don't have a back button. Let's fix that real quick. Let's edit the project. In the channel details page, we need a back button. So we have an app bar. You need to just do show default button. And the button color, we can set it to black here. So we'll have a back button so you can easily navigate back. You can, drag backwards, but it's a little bit cleaner to have the back button. In the web view, the app bar, there's a little bit of, there's a bug. There's supposed to be a gap between the safe area, just like you can see it in here. There's a gap here. If I display the device, you can see that there's a decent amount of gap. In the web view, we don't have that yet. You're fixing it in the next couple of weeks. But I think we're basically done here. I'll rebuild so that we have that back button. But I'm going to hit run. But I'll actually make this public and share it with folks now. Is it static or dynamic code? So the code is actually, well, it's loading the data dynamically. And the code itself is dynamic in the sense that if you come in and change anything, it's updated immediately, right? As we're building this stuff here, it actually starts updating the code. So when you go to V code, you get everything. And if I actually, what I'll do is I'll hit download here as well, download code. So you can see, and I'll unzip it and we open it in the editor. You can see the whole, everything that it generates for you. Cool. And by the way, the link should also work on mobile devices, but I think mobile web is still a little iffy with Flutter web, so might not work perfectly. But yeah, we have less droid.zip, and we can unzip this, and I can share later like how it looks. But let's see if people have posted anything. All right, maybe. Oh yeah, there we go. The people have been adding a message. Hi. Oh, okay. So one issue is because we haven't set photos, everybody's photo is going to look the same, right? That's fine. But that's just something funny that happens. Hello there. And of course, we're not showing the display name, so it's a little confusing. Let's actually fix that one quickly. How does it look in Slack? Let me see. Oh, so yeah, they do usually have the name at the top, actually. So let's go into widget editor mode and duplicate this. And we'll delete that. And this will be the user's name. Set from variable user record display name. Set from variable. Oh, we had a bug. Oh, we had a bug. So whatever people were posting, it just showed the user's name. So this should not be the user record. This should be post text save. Okay, so I think if right now, whatever I'm typing, if you can see here, I say hello there, and it just says able. And there's another bug. It's just randomly sorted. Right, so that's not great. What we'll do is, so there's a couple of bugs. The sorting, let's fix that. The text wasn't showing up properly, and the sorting. So we need to get all the posts filtered by created at increasing. So we have a filter, not sure. Oh, it's because we are not setting the created at, aren't we? I thought we action create post created at is the current time. Interesting. So let's see. We have, if I refresh this page, we probably have some posts here. We have a bunch of posts already created. Hey, it has the times. So I think it's working properly. So different people are coming in and adding messages. But it looks like, yeah, I think it might have been because of the bugs earlier. I fixed, so it does order by. created that increasing, filter to the current channel. And this text is coming from the post record text, save. And that time is going to be the time of the post, correct, yeah. This display name is the user's display name. So we have everything set up correctly. The image should be the user's image. I don't think anybody's uploading images, so it won't really matter. We can make it actually a little bit smaller so it doesn't take up too much space. And let's add some padding here. I'm going to add padding this row at this level. Cool. Yeah, let's try that one more time. This is the final version, and I think we've fixed most of the bugs, and I think we've demoed that we can build an app basically end to end in a little over an hour. It looks like an hour and a half or so now, but hopefully it's been exciting for you. This is the first time I was doing this, doing like a live stream of an app. We've built apps pretty quickly, but this is probably the fastest. We've done like an end-to-end app that has different pages, at least for me. So I'm glad it kind of worked. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. And once this completes, we'll share the link, and then we'll open it up for questions, maybe another 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Let's get the final link, and so we can. And maybe one thing I'll do is yeah. So once this runs, let's just take one channel at the top, and we can try typing in there and seeing what happens. And make sure you get the latest link when this finishes. We have a lot of questions. Okay. Hopefully, it can fit in 15 minutes. Cool. Here we go. So we have the link. I'm going to make it public. And I'll paste it in here for everyone. And yeah, let's see. All right, I'm gonna go here, Gen Z. Hopefully this works now. Yeah. All right. Okay. Oh no, we have a big problem. DC. Oh man, always gonna have a bug. So basically, there's a column here and it's scrolling out. So I'm gonna go to a different testing it here. Basically, what's happening is as I type more stuff, and we're not clearing this field. We can do an action that can clear the text field. There's some UX stuff to improve, and also in this channel details page, we need to make sure that this column has a maximum height so that it just scrolls after that. So one thing the way we can do that is we can wrap it in a widget, in a container. We can set the width to infinity, and we can set the height to unlimited, right? So the height can be, we don't explicitly set it here, we set the maximum height. We can say the maximum height is gonna be, say, we can make it a percent of the screen and say like 80%. And what that means is it won't, the text, this will not grow longer than that, so that this type your message here always remains. Another thing we could have done is we could have used a stack and just overlaid it on top. So actually that's the cleaner solution. So let's try that real quick. What I'll do is I'll cut this post field. It's in my clipboard now, and I'm gonna remove this max constraint. I had it in a container here. I'll actually move this column back into this column at the top, right? And I'll delete this container. And I'm gonna wrap this whole column in a stack. Now I can paste in the post field in the stack. And because it's in a stack, that means I can just adjust it to to kind of wherever I want. So I can move it at the bottom here. And the nice thing is it would just overlay, right? So if somebody had a post, that's okay. It won't be hidden. It won't be pushed down. So we can do 0.9 here, maybe 0.95. So the text will kind of keep scrolling in the bottom, and you can scroll with that. And we need to make this scrollable. That was the other bug we had. And this is also scrollable. Okay, there. Hopefully there are no more bugs. But if you're a programmer, bugs appear. That's why we need to test and iterate. I'm gonna hit run one more time for the last version. So now we can start taking questions. So fingerprint locks on login, augmented reality, or some security fix can be added manually. Right. So that's the idea. So there's a lot of features that we try to provide, but there's always going to be something you want to do. Maybe you want to customize, and code is not going to limit you at all. So what we want to do is, first of all, we have some custom functions. We're going to improve the quality of that. So you can come in here and actually start creating custom code. And there's tests. So you can have like the return type. You can have some parameters, and you can start typing your Dart code in here. And you can check if it has errors and all this stuff. And you can use your custom functions inside of FlutterFlow so that you can maybe do something fancier. But you can also go to GitHub here. And once you have your GitHub linked, you can export it to your repository. So you can actually have two different branches, kind of merge them in, as make some local changes and merging changes from that come in from FlutterFlow. And you can do fancier stuff, like if you want to do fingerprint lock or whatever it is that you need, you can kind of modify the generated code that way. That's the idea. Let me see if there's other.
Yeah, I think there is. I think there is like other question at the top. I'll just read it for you.
Okay.
Okay. Just let me get to them.
Nice. Okay, this works now. Yes. This works, but UX still needs work. Yeah, this works, but UX still needs work. We just need to add a little bit of padding in the bottom here.
Yeah, maybe also creating the message after sending it.
Yes. Do we have a clear action? Hopefully we do. Bottom padding. Let's give it like a 50 padding in the bottom. Maybe even like 80, so that it always has some space at the bottom there. And let's set the action. Is there okay, so we don't have that yet. That's actually been one request. We don't have a clear action yet, clear text field. It should be something just automatically on this text field. Oh yeah, clear field icon. Okay, so we can do a clear field icon. Ideally, when you hit submit, it will automatically clear it for you, and we'll add that feature in the future. But for now, we've just added that clear icon here. Cool. Yeah, open to questions. By the way, one thing, if you like FlutterFlow, I'm seeing a lot of positive feedback here. Really appreciate you. If you like FlutterFlow, you can check. If you go to our website, we've actually launched on Product Hunt, and you can go review it if you'd like. You can sign up here. We do have educator or student pricing, so there's an education link here, and you can apply by just hitting this button, and you should be getting free access to FlutterFlow within a week or so after that. So you can use it. You can generate code. You can deploy to the app stores, whatever you need, and hopefully it's helpful for you.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. We are already building great app within 1 hour and 30. It's so great.
Yeah.
I think there is a
Cool.
question that can we make web apps with FlutterFlow?
So we have been focusing on mobile because that's where it lacks. But one thing I can show you is if I go back home here, And if I do FlutterFlow account, so we were working on a redesign of the account page, and we're building that in FlutterFlow. So if I preview here, can you see my screen? Yeah, you can see this preview screen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So like it looks kind of weird, but this is actually, you know, something we're building. So we're already starting to use FlutterFlow to build FlutterFlow. It's gotten very meta. So it won't be as easy to work with because we don't have like deployed, we don't have deployments for web and things like that. But one thing you can do is you can set the canvas size here. So if I set the canvas size to 1400 by 1080 or something, this will actually just be a large screen, and the code is still the same, right? Like Flutter is nice. You can use the same code and run it on web. So you can use it to do web app. I mean, we don't have as much responsive features for like larger screens, but you can still make it work using columns and rows and whatnot. And we're already starting to use it. For example, this menu here, this dialog menu, our designer built it completely, and our designer actually does not know Flutter, but designed it in FlutterFlow, and I just added the logic for it. And we can make things public or private here. All of that was built, at least the UI was built in FlutterFlow. So you can kind of get maybe halfway there, maybe a little bit closer. That answers the question.
yeah, yeah. I think that's an answer. Maybe like for if after you generate like the code of your application, you can maybe tweak it some to fit on the browser maybe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That should be possible.
Okay. I think there is a question. He's saying that is it possible to collaborate on the same project?
Yes. So if I go here, I go to settings and team. So I can start inviting people. And
Yeah.
now we can all start editing it. So we can't edit both at the same time right now because there might be conflicts. But we're
Yeah.
working on that feature so that you can do live collaboration. But you can share a project with someone and they can come in and work on top of it. So you can have as many people here.
Yeah, that's very awesome. Like you collaborate on the same application. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, it was amazing to get a chance to hang out with y'all, and hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
and
there is
thanks for
no more
inviting me
question. Yeah.
again.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much for coming, and we're very sorry about the troubles that technical
Oh,
problems.
no problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it happens all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, it was
understand that.
like
Yeah,
an amazing session. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone. See ya.
Thank you. Have a great night.